fasting is a Christian's voluntary abstinence. This is not something that we do out of obligation. We volunteer ourselves to do it, and we abstain from something good for a predetermined amount of time and for a spiritual purpose. Now, the Bible unpacks all different types of fasting, but for us as individuals, there's three primary fasts that I want you to know about so that you can know what you might do this next week. The first type of fast is a normal fast. A normal fast is abstinence from everything except water for a predetermined amount of time and for a spiritual purpose. This is most likely the type of fast that Jesus did in Matthew chapter 4, which we just read. The second type of fast is a partial fast. A partial fast is abstinence from some foods for a predetermined amount of time and for a spiritual purpose. So a good example of this might be the Daniel fast, where it's an abbreviated diet, where there is restrictions on what you eat. The third type of fast is an alternative fast. It is abstinence from something other than food for a predetermined amount of time and a spiritual purpose. So you can fast from social media. You can fast from TV. You can fast from Fox News for a specific amount of time and for a spiritual purpose. In terms of how long you should fast, well, if you look at the scriptures, people fasted for part of a day, a full day, a night, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, 40 days, and for unspecified periods of time. The fast that I do most often in my life is the normal fast. So I'm in a rhythm right now where every Friday I fast from lunch. I go from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., a 7-hour window, only drinking water, and I always fast with a specific purpose. But then there's been other times where I've done a partial fast. So I love dessert. So there's been seasons where I've said, I'm going to fast for a time for spiritual purpose from dessert. And then there's been times where I've done an alternative fast where I've said, social media is just sucking the life out of my soul. So I'm going to go for an extended period of time without looking at social media for a spiritual purpose. I need you to understand, though, that fasting is pointless if you don't do it for a specific spiritual purpose. Like there's been times where I've fasted and it's just been miserable. Like I'm just being straight up honest. It has been miserable. And time stands still and all I do is watch the clock to figure out when I'm going to be able to meet. You know what I was doing? I wasn't fasting, I was dieting. Anytime you fast without a purpose, that's just called a diet. That isn't fasting according to how the Bible prescribes fasting. You always have to do it with a specific purpose in mind. And honestly, it's taken me far too long to understand the beauty of fasting. But when I finally understood that I better not fast until I have a specific purpose in mind, it's only then that you begin to be full in the midst of going hungry. And so I have had, like Friday was such a sweet day. Was I hungry? Absolutely, but I was fasting for the Black community in our nation. I was fasting for Breakaway. I was fasting for one of my sons who's been going through some different challenges. And so as I fasted with a specific purpose in mind, I began to feel full in the midst of going hungry.
Hey, thanks for watching. To find out more about Houston's First, you can subscribe to our channel or you can go to houstonsfirst.org.